You're looking at the 2021 Shelby GT500, and you can pick one of these up for around $83,000. That's how much this one costs, and this car is insane. Let's check it out. Before we do though, big thank you to Mike from Bagwell Auto Sales for giving us this vehicle to review. Link in the description. Let's start with this hood, where you get 7 massive flaps that act as a heat extractor to the huge engine that's under this hood, which we'll talk about in a second. You also get 2 nice old school hood pins that you have to push in order to open this hood. Now, looking at the front end of this car, you're going to notice a lot of similarities with the EcoBoost and the GT, but there's enough done to this front end that makes it extremely special. First of all, this one has a beautiful stripe that goes down the entire car, which by the way is more than a $1,000 option. You get a massive Shelby badge right here that stands out big time. And by the way, this color is called grabber yellow. So when you see this in traffic or a cop sees it, trust me, they're not going to miss you. You also get 4 massive areas for cooling. A huge grill right here, another grill down here, and 2 on the sides here, which by the way, this car absolutely needs. Now also in the front end of this car, you get a very subtle GT500 right on your grill, which is hard to see because it's blacked out on this black grill setup here. And also on this massive splitter, you get Shelby spelled out, which looks really nice. Now what's very cool about the splitter on the Shelby is that it actually continues up the side of the car and into your wheel well, and you cannot miss this at all. Now once you pull the latch inside and press on those hood pins, you can lift up your very heavy hood and you are greeted with the most beautiful engine bay ever. So under this hood is a 5.2 liter supercharged V8 that makes 760 horsepower and 625 pound-feet of torque. So yes, this car does weigh 4,200 pounds, but because of the power that this engine makes, you can do 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds and the quarter mile in 10.7 seconds. This car is actually so fast that if you search videos of GT500 roll races against Lamborghini Huracans, this one will beat it, and for under half the price. Now the last generation GT500 you can pick up for right around $30,000 to $40,000 if you look at S197 models that are around the year 2007. Those still make over 500 horsepower, however, they do have their issues. The reliability rating for this car is actually pretty decent, and the fact that you get over 200 more horsepower, and not only that, a dual clutch automatic transmission to go with it, makes this one of the best cars you can buy for under $100,000. So let's check out the side of this car.
The f was that?
So let's check out the side of this car, where you get 20-inch wheels, and the gloss black on this looks so nice with the grabber yellow. Now these tires are 305 in width. And look at these brakes and the brake discs that you get. These are 6-piston Brembo brakes in the front that literally take up the entire wheel well. Now also on the side of the Shelby, you get this beautiful snake badge. The GT350 does not have that on the side, so if you see this, you know you're looking at a GT500. And also this car sort of has 2 side skirts going on here, one on the top level and one on the bottom. Now in the back here, you also get 20-inch wheels, but these tires are 315 in width, and when you're dealing with 760 horsepower, even these cannot give you the grip that you need. Now also in the back, you get Brembo brakes. However, these ones are 4-piston brakes. Considering you can hit speeds of like 180 miles an hour in the 15-20 second range, you absolutely need to stop this thing when necessary, and these brakes can do the job. Now let's take a look at the back of this car, where this beautiful vinyl stripe continues, and you also get this absolutely massive spoiler that is unique to the GT500. Now the back end of this car, to me, looks a little bit squished. I don't know if it's just the spoiler that does that, but it looks absolutely amazing. You have another huge Shelby badge, which is unique to the GT500. The GT350 does not have this big snake on there unless it's put on aftermarket. You get this gloss black trunk lid, and you still have these vinyl stripes that continue down your car. Now again, this is still a Mustang, so you get the exact same taillights as well as your headlights, but like I said, they've done enough to make this car different. You also get these massive quad tip active exhausts, and take a listen to how good this sounds. This is now the new fastest car that I've ever driven in my entire life. Oh my gosh. Right when you hop in this thing, you can feel the weight of the car. It is definitely very, very heavy and bulky. And it doesn't really like to go slow. When you go in idle up a little hill, you have to really kind of press on the gas to get the thing going. You can tell this car was literally meant to just rip on a highway and get to 200 miles an hour as fast as possible. Let's do just a light acceleration here. Yeah, so hitting 3,000 RPM in this thing feels like my Mustang EcoBoost at 6,500 RPM. It is, oh my gosh. The steering wheel feels phenomenal to hold, and you know that every single person you pass, they're batting an eye on you. I mean, this car stands out. Now, as for cornering, this really is not a track or cornering type of car. This is something you line up with, like right here, next to any other car. Choose a car, pick one. This thing will probably absolutely dust it. It is that fast. And we'll do another acceleration right here. Let's roll down the windows just a bit and see how this thing feels whenever it's safe. I may or may not have gotten a speeding ticket pretty recently, so I'm really not down to risk that again. Ready? Wow! Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's scary. I mean, anytime you hop in the fastest car you've ever driven before, of course it's gonna feel scary. All right, now let's throw everything in track mode and see how much of a difference that makes while driving it. Let's do a little acceleration. Ready? Yep. I mean, you're gonna be fighting for grip in the low gears every single time you do that. I mean, this thing will lose grip if you're going at 60, 70 miles an hour. 760 horsepower, like, oh my gosh. And from the factory too, that is one of the most unbelievable parts about this entire car. That dual clutch transmission too. Boom, shifts. Oh my gosh. And the shifts, when you do downshift, it's like upshift, you get just jolted back into your seat. The whole thing feels unbelievable. And that you can hear that supercharger up there too. Wow, wow. Guys, I don't think I'd be able to own this car. I mean, unless I had some like grade A lawyers on my side 24/7, yeah, I don't think I'd be able to drive this. Oh, it's so responsive too. I didn't even hit the downshifts. It just knows what you want to do. Wow. Wow. Wow, this is like an absolute machine. This is exactly, if you ever come across somebody who thinks, you know, everyone should go electric, have them just sit in this thing. You don't even have to drive it. Just sit in the GT500, listen to the exhaust note that this car makes, and there's no way you can still agree that things should go electric. I mean, this just feels like old school muscle, but in modern day. It is, oh my gosh, those downshifts. Oh my gosh. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what you get inside of the GT500. So right when you open up the door, once again, it's still a Mustang. So this door panel has not changed at all. And also on the door sill of this car, you see Ford Performance. That is also on the GT350 as well. And these seats aren't that special, but they do feel good and look good. They're fully leather. They're also heated and cooled, and you get a nice Shelby badge right below your headrest. Now, right when you take a seat in this thing, you're granted with a fully Alcantara steering wheel with a center marker right at the top of your steering wheel. You have a massive snake because you're in a Shelby, of course, and a fully configurable digital gauge cluster. So when you turn this car on, you have an option from several different drive modes you can select, which will change the display in your gauge cluster. The ones worth noting are that you get normal, sport, and track. And my favorite design, as always, is track. The emphasis that it puts on your RPM gauge is awesome. Now, here's a negative. Take a look at the center console in this car. It is so bare. You get your 2 cup holders, your parking brake, and then your ability to switch from park, reverse, neutral, drive, which happens to be this strange circular thing. I'm not a fan of those at all. I'd rather have a stick to shift. But All right, we'll take it. Again, you're in a 760 horsepower car, so I'm not really going to complain. Now, of course, this thing has the big display for your infotainment system. It's a GT500 after all. Not a lot of interesting stuff or cool features in there, though. My favorite thing is simply the drive mode selector, which normally is accessed through the infotainment system, but in this car, it's not. Now, I really like how this steering wheel is set up. You have quick access to the modes you need to access. So this car has adjustable suspension and an adjustable steering wheel feel. However, I own a 2016 Mustang EcoBoost, and my car does have an adjustable steering wheel. So this one feels special because it has that adjustable suspension. I will say, there is not a lot of stuff that has changed in the interior or what you get adjustable-wise for your drive modes. It's really just the fact that you have 760 horsepower at the push of your foot. Now, right above your center console is where you see mode in something that looks like binoculars. That is your active exhaust mode. So if you don't want to destroy your neighbor's ears in the morning when you cold start this thing, put it on quiet mode. And right above those buttons, you have your heated and cooled seat options, which I am now sweating profusely, so I need those cooled seats. And right above your infotainment system, you have some old school gauges. You get to see your oil pressure and your oil temperature. That's cool. If you jump over to the passenger side, your passenger gets to stare at a beautiful GT500 plaque right on the dash of this car. And you might have figured this, but the back seats are literally the same as any other Mustang. It's no different, which, okay, you know, you're probably not going to be using the back seats. It's more for practicality. All in all, this car is really about the driving experience. It is unlike any other. There's not a lot of changes in the interior. The exterior does look really, really good. Question is this something that you would spend $85,000 on? This one is valued at $83,000 and only has 3,900 miles on it. So let me know in the comments if this is something you would look at. Appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.